just to make sure that the pressure is as good as the vacuum, and they're stable. About to show you things. We've done things, been hard at work doing things. Things have been done, and yeah, we're ready to. I think we got to sort out some housekeeping stuff. I'll explain this. So, pins, 99.9% done. We just have to wire a kickoff switch for the air conditioning system, and we need to finish off one fitting on that air conditioning system. So we can do the vacuum and fill and all that stuff. But we might as well make sure the car runs before we do the AC stuff, just because why get into that. But all the inputs and outputs that are going to the Holley have been ran on the engine bay. And then we're running all the wires that needed to go in. Most of these inputs, I think we have like one or two outputs on the Pro Dash are wired as well. So now it's just a matter of kind of doing some housekeeping in there and cable tying some stuff away so it's nice, and then setting in the computer and the dash. I got to make sure I have the right firmware installed. Matt on Sloppy's got a video to do that, so I definitely check that out. There's a lot of things going on when you're just like, the best way to do it, I think, is just turbo an LS motor and run it like that. Turbo 400, manual shifting, you can't go wrong. Just run 10, 12 pounds, and you're good, man. You don't need shenanigans and tricks and sensors and all that stuff. But we all get like, oh, I could do this, and I could do that. And part of the reason why we do this hobby is because we can't help but tinkering with stuff. So whenever we see new stuff, we want to get our paws all over it. And that's what happened with the Phoenix. I figured since we have all these capabilities, why not use some of them? Some things are just old that we had on the Phoenix before with the gold box, like the boost controller and the ethanol content sensor. And then there's some new things like kicking on fans and fuel pumps and doing drive shaft speed sensors and front wheel speed sensors, and again the ethanol content, the boost, coolant pressure, some other little doodads like that. We've added in there. So when you do add that stuff, it can get this, for me anyway, it's my first time doing the Holley. I've never actually sat it up and ran it. So there's I'm probably sure that's probably like most things. There's a real steep learning curve that we're on, and then once you get to operating with the software, the program, the hardware, it becomes more intuitive, and you quit stressing out about it and start working in it, operating in that environment well. One thing I definitely recommend, and I think go watch all of the videos on Sloppy, on Devin Vanendorf and Joe Simpson, and there's a couple other guys out there that definitely they deserve a shout out. I'm really bad at names, so there's a lot of good stuff out there on, especially the pin-ins and pin-outs and that kind of stuff. What I did is I just took an Excel spreadsheet and I just started writing it all down. I got the manuals out on the computer or in front of me, and I went down and I said, this sensor is an input, and it is this kind of input, and I'd go find the input that would accept that, and it'll help you kind of figure out a way to get everything to work now. And then also get a way to get all your inputs in. If you're on the X and you're trying to use a bunch of inputs, you're gonna have to use your dash and have your dash talk to the computer. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I've watched all the videos and I think I have a clue. So that's what we got to get into, this computer program. So engine bay, pretty much the final. Like I said, there's one hose that needs to hook up right into the little round thing. I think that's called a dryer or something. But there's just one hose that needs to go back into there. I'm gonna throw a couple extra drops in the compressor just to make sure that it's got plenty of oil in it, and we'll loom some of this It looks like a little bit of a rat's nest up there. We're gonna go ahead and loom that stuff, but other than that, it is like the final reassembly. All right, so right behind the dash, we got some wires. Some of these guys plug into the dash. Some of them plug into the actual OEM dash for like lights and windshield wipers, stuff like that. And it will just get kind of rolled up and tucked up in there. We got some of that fancy computer Velcro material type stuff. And we got our air conditioner hoses all in there, and it's ready to go in the center section. I left you guys. I said I was gonna clean up stuff and work on little detail stuff, and that's what I've been up to. So just letting you know, it's been no real change. It's just mostly handling the wire in here and unscrewing things that were ran weird, and finding wires that weren't hooked up and figuring out where they go and hooking them up. Yo, Holly, if you're going to be super specific about people hooking up stuff to batteries, make sure there's enough wire to reach the battery. That would be, God forbid, if I had an RV like my homie over there at Fuel Injection Sucks with their, if you guys haven't seen a turbo, I think it's a 5.3 Winnebago, you should go check that out. Fuel Injection Sucks on the YouTubes. Definitely worth a watch. So yeah, just banging away at all the fine little details, one thing at a time. And that was the update. Did you guys hear that noise? That's my boost solenoid. It's doing boost solenoid stuff. It's actually kind of probably just smoking itself is what it's really doing. Yeah, it's not hot. Anyway, kind of exciting stuff. We have the dash on, we got our little handheld going, and our computer got on. If I push the pedal, it stops the boost solenoid for a millisecond. I've watched Matt's video on the sloppy mechanics. Stop it. About how to upload the new firmware. I did that. For some reason it won't let me upload it to the newest firmware, but it used the stop. I need to, they are talking, because when I plugged it all in, turned it on, it says, the dash said, do you want me to load the screen from your computer, blah, 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 blah. But I need to knock it off. I need to go into the computer file and configure all the CAN bus stuff that's running off of the dash, and make sure that the computer, the dash, and they're talking to the engine and all that good stuff. And I only found 2 wires. One I think is a fan relay, and the other one is to our air conditioning. So it's the air conditioning kit. It just lets the computer know that the air conditioner's on, so that it can idle up the engine for a second, kick the fan on, and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna watch YouTube videos, because I have no idea how to. I've watched them, but I want to rewatch them again and just kind of take it a little bit at a time. And this is the really scary part, because this is all the LCD screens and stuff making noise, electric stuff, and I don't do any of this well. So high levels. Let me just turn that off. High levels of anxiety, and yeah, I wish I had a buddy here that was well versed with how to set all this stuff up, but I don't. It's just me, and we'll have to figure it out the best we can. Doing YouTube, it's the same thing we always ever done, just instead of books and libraries, now we have Google and YouTube. So we're gonna Google and YouTube stuff, guys.